Hey guys, we are here for the Like Father Like Daughter issue 2 Kickstarter launch party. So I'm excited to talk about this and answer your questions. That's what this is. This is here for. Answer some Like Father Like Daughter questions, writing questions, YouTube questions. So yeah, I started like 5 minutes early because why not? A little pre-show, I guess. I wanted to get started. I was all set up, so I shared the link everywhere. So yeah, as I wait for you guys to head over here, I guess I'll just talk a little bit about the Kickstarter and Like Father Like Daughter in general. If you don't know what it's about, what is Like Father Like Daughter about? It's about a 16-year-old girl. Her name's Casey Ryder, and she's a pretty average girl. Normal high schooler, except that her father left her to become a full-time superhero. So that means everyone loves him except for her, because he's the only superhero in the world, and he left her. So he's a deadbeat dad, and she obviously doesn't like him for that. And the world doesn't know that. The world sees him as this Superman type character. Little spoiler from issue 1 if you haven't read it yet, but when I was doing the Kickstarter Q&As, I was trying to hide this spoiler from you guys, and now that it's out, I'll let you guys know what's going on in the first issue, but you should still read the first issue if you haven't read it yet, because there's a lot of fun stuff. But the first issue is about Casey inheriting her father's abilities. So she becomes her own worst enemy, getting the powers of invulnerable, and there's a lot of fun antics there. Like Father Like Daughter also plays off of superhero tropes. There's a ton of, I've been reading comics for a really long time, so there's a lot of superhero tropes out there. And I want to play with those here, and make a lot of comic book references, and that's what I do here. It's very much showing the cliches of superheroes, but also telling a heartfelt story about father and daughter. So that's something we're going to be seeing here, and of course, I'll be talking a little bit about issue 2, I guess, before I get your questions and, your comments. A little bit about issue 2 is that we explore a bit more about Casey's powers, and we introduce a character that kind of was introduced in issue 1, but really only had a panel or two. You don't really know much about him. But Wes, in the first issue, you get again, a panel or two of him geeking out about Invulnerable. But he's just one of the random classmates kind of in the panel, but he becomes a lot more important in this issue. You learn a bit more about him, and he is the superhero walking dictionary. So you could definitely be excited for that. If you're a geek for comics, you could totally relate to him, and that's Wes. So look forward to that. And that's what I really want to talk about with issue 2. There's obviously a lot that happens. There's a good cliffhanger, but it's very much a geek out issue, I feel. Issue 1 was definitely more of the setup. This is what's happening. This is the world. And issue 2 is hey, we can kind of geek out about comics here and geek out. This is a superhero world. And then, I'll talk about issue 3 and 4. I have issue 3 and 4 all written out. I'll talk a little bit about that too. So yeah, I'll talk about that, and I have up to issue 10 plotted, so I know where it's going, and it's based off of for people that don't know, Father Like Daughter is based off of a movie script that I wrote for school, and Short Fuse Media ended up finding my video when I was looking for artists, and they said, hey, we want to publish your comic, and Short Fuse Media has been great, and they're the ones who set up this whole Kickstarter. They're wonderful with that. They got me connected to the letterer, the inker, artist, Wayne Brown. So Short Fuse Media has been great. And next Q&A, they'll probably be on, at least in the background. This Q&A is only me, and hopefully I'll ask Jay if he can moderate, but he's still on his hiatus, so he wasn't able to do this one. So it'll be back to what we did with issue 1. I will have a Kickstarter Q&A every week for the Kickstarter, every week until the Kickstarter ends. I know you guys enjoy the Q&As. I enjoy the Q&As, so I will definitely be doing that. What else do I want to talk about beforehand? It'll pop up in my mind, the things I want to talk about. Oh, of course, the Kickstarter itself. You could go check out the Kickstarter link in the description below. It'd be awesome if we're doing this video, get some backers during the video. Maybe I'll check the page as we do as this goes on. If you guys want to back it up, that'd be great. And you get some awesome prizes too. You get, one thing I really enjoyed about Short Fuse Media, the way how they organized the Kickstarter list, because they're the ones who did all that. The one thing I really liked about what they did is that if you didn't kickstart issue 1, you have a chance to get issue 1 with this Kickstarter. So you could be a brand new member of the Like Father Like Daughter fan base, and you could get issue 1. It's a really cool package deal. But if you already bought issue 1, they give you another gift. So I thought that was really cool when I saw it, and they talked to me about the prizes that backers would get. So I thought that was really cool. So even if you're new to Like Father Like Daughter, don't know anything about the universe, the Kickstarter is obviously still friendly to you guys, and you're able to get issue 1 and catch up. And of course, these Q&As help also, because I'll be talking about it. So that's something that I really like. And yeah, and for the gifts, you can get T-shirts. I have a T-shirt. If you swore me a special edition New York Comic Con, I had a booth there. The T-shirt was hanging up. So some of the stuff you get action figures. You could be in the story itself. So that's really cool. I'm already actually working on the previous Kickstarter. We had a big contributor want comic duo as a story. So the next webcomic, because we took a halt on the webcomic for a little while, and we're continuing that. I just sent in the script this week for it. Now it's Comic Duo. If you don't know, my name's Comic Uno. My show is called Comic Uno. But the reason it's called Comic Uno is because my show beforehand was called Comic Duo. I started this in high school, this YouTube channel. And my best friend, still best friend, Luke, he did the show with me, liked comics then. So we did the show. But then Luke, he didn't like comics as much. So, I turned in the show into Comic Uno. But there, Comic Duo is still a big part of this. So Comic Duo in the Like Father Like Daughter universe, you'll find out a little bit how that connects. It's a YouTube show, but also, it's a world with superheroes. So are you just reviewing comics, or are you kind of reviewing Invulnerable? So that's something you're going to see in the webcomic, which I'm really excited about. And that came about because of a contributor saying, oh, I want a Comic Duo story. So if you back this up and you want a certain story in Like Father Like Daughter universe, I can write that in. So that is the perks of backing that up and getting that prize. So, and it's coming to reality with issue 2. Again, some cameos too. Some Comic Frontline members are going to be cameoing soon. I don't know exactly where yet, but I just sent in like images of them, their videos. So they're going to try to draw them in because they gave a really good amount of money for the Kickstarter for last time. So they are cameoing, I think that's a word, in next issue or wherever they're going to get cameo. So that's going to be really cool. So if you're a fan of Comic Frontline, you're going to see them in the Like Father Like Daughter universe too. So some reality coming into this universe. So yeah, those are some of the prizes. I'll talk more about that as the show goes on. But there's a little introduction. I'm seeing people coming in. So let me check the video and see if we got any questions. Let's check this out. All right. Oh, yeah, we got a lot of comments. Awesome. Let's see. Thank you, guys. This is really appreciative that you guys are commenting. So I said ask questions in the comments below, and we got some comments to that. Tevia said hello, and then Roberto Ramon said hi. So hi, guys. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully, you guys have some good questions. Comic Book Fan 1992 says, can't wait for this. Yes, Comic Book Fan 1992 did a review on the comic on his channel. That was really cool of him. And he's been a big supporter of the book, so thank you so much. And also promoting Media Madness next week. For this coming Thursday, we're going to have a viewer's pick for Media Madness, and Comic Book Fan 1992 is going to join us for that. So really excited about that. We always want to support the viewers because that's why we're here. That's why we're doing the things we love. So, Comic Book Fan is a big supporter. So we're going to be doing Dragon Ball Z discussion. And me and Jay are not Dragon Ball Z fans. So we're going to see if we'll become Dragon Ball Z fans with Comic Book Fan 1992 and Jeremy on the show. So that's Thursday, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. All right. First question is, Tevia, question. Since I backed the Kickstarter before, I'm confused by this. Do I have to pay again or not because I'm confused? The way, that's a great question. The way Kickstarter works is that now it's for the first issue that you backed up. So all that money went to the first issue. It takes a lot of money to make a comic. So all that money went to the first issue. This is a new Kickstarter. I tried to put the money, a little bit lower, just that way the money we made for some sales of issue 1, I tried to make it a little lower, and that was about $500 lower for the goal. So that's something I did, and it counts for this issue if you back it up. So the thing you contributed for the first issue, you got your prizes already, you got your gifts, and this is for the second issue. So you get new gifts that are in the bottom. And it helps for this issue now. So hopefully that clears things up. Okay, next is Omnitron. Will there ever be a superhero more powerful than Invulnerable showing up? As of right now, as the story stands, in issue 1 and going into issue 2, Invulnerable and Casey are the only ones who have superpowers in this world. So unless Casey's stronger than Invulnerable, that's really the only way you can go with that route. But there is no other superpowered people as of right now in the story. And what's so funny? I was like, am I revealing something by saying Casey has powers? Is because, again, those Kickstarters I did, the Kickstarter Q&As I did before, it was always like, don't say Casey has powers. And there's always times where I like almost trip up that she has powers. But now I can say she has powers, so that's pretty cool. And I at first was like, oh, Invulnerable's the only one, but Casey has powers too. But yeah, that's a funny story there. All right, so the Omnitron. If you were to ever get to do a crossover with Marvel, DC, or Image, which characters would you want it to be? I guess let's go by company. Marvel, of course, Spider-Girl. I mean, they're both in high school. I would love to see that. See how Casey and especially because Spider-Girl has such a great relationship with her. I was going to say relationship. A relationship with her father, and Casey doesn't. So I think that'd be an interaction. And I'm thinking before Spider-Verse. So I would want to see the Mayday before Spider-Verse because it gets a little confusing after that. But May lost her father then, so be interesting. DC. I would really like a teen hero also. Stephanie Brown. That'd be kind of cool. So I feel like Stephanie's really fun. I mean, Casey could be too, but of course she has like those grudges going on. So she's a little bit standoffish at times, so it'd be kind of cool to see Stephanie open Casey's shell a bit. So it's Stephanie Brown from DC. Image, Invincible and Invulnerable. That'd be kind of cool. Once I was starting to do this Q&A, a lot of people was like, oh, the name's very similar to Invincible, and I never noticed that until like people started tripping up calling him Invincible instead of Vulnerable. So let's just say them. That'd be kind of cool to see them be in a battle or be friends and get a cup of coffee. So that's from all 3 of those companies. That's what I would like to see. Next question is from Tevia. I'm just wondering, is your comic inspired by both DC Comics legacy heroes like the Flash, aka Wally West, who is a favorite Flash of all time next to Batman Beyond? Also, is your comic inspired by Spider-Girl? If your series is made into an anime movie like DC does with anime movies, would you direct it? So let's answer the first question, which is about, is my comic based on legacy heroes? Again, my comic is based on all comics, really. It's just playing with the tropes of superheroes, what I've read from DC and Marvel. And, I've, again, been reading comics for a really long time and just seeing, oh, well, that's a trope. That's happened a billion times. So it's playing with that. And, also, a big thing in comics now is that, people aren't married or it's not about family anymore. It's about them being single. So it's now bringing this family situation in a superhero book. It's a different type of family situation. It's not that they all love each other, it's a perfect marriage or a perfect family. It's, not. So it's an interesting story to tell there. And then going to, if I ever had an anime movie, that'd be first of all very cool because again, this was a movie script first. I mean, I would like to direct it if like they said, hey, Kat, you want to direct your own movie? I'd be like, yeah, of course I would because I am the writer of the book and I want creative control of it. But at the same time, a lot of times it doesn't happen that way. So if at least I have a bit of creative control, that'd be good. But hey, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves here. But that is a big what if. All right, next is from Jeremy. We have, hey, Kat, so question. Big theme in most teen superhero comics is balancing school and the hero life. We saw in issue 1 that Casey's a pretty popular girl. How will she balance that? And will she get a costume at some point? I'll answer the first one about balancing school and her powers. I wouldn't say superhero life, but definitely her powers. Yeah, it's definitely, this issue is going to play a big part in the high school role. There's a lot of high school moments here. Issue 3 also has a lot of high school moments, or at least a big high school moment. A certain character plays a big part in issue 3, and then issue 2 is just kind of playing those social dynamics. I remember when I first thought of this comic, I was like, I kind of want to be like Clueless in a way. How the main character is, she's popular, but she doesn't like play the popular card. She's like a nice person for the most part, but she is popular and it's pretty obvious. And I kind of wanted that to be, be similar to Casey too. It's like Casey's not going to make fun of people to be popular, but she's still a chill type person for the most part, and she is part of this popular group, but she doesn't take advantage of it. She knows she's part of this popular group, but she doesn't think she's high and mighty because of it. And I think that's kind of a cool aspect that not a lot of teen books do. So that's also playing with just this high school trope. So yeah, playing with a lot of tropes, not just superhero tropes too. I think I answered your question. Yeah, we're gonna get a good balance of school and powers, especially in the beginning issues for this arc. All right, so let's move on to some other questions. I have to reboot the page. All right, so yeah, keep going with the questions. Seeing some of them now. All right, let's see. All right, question from the Omnitron. Do you ever plan on introducing magic to this universe, or is there more of a straight science-based universe? At this moment, no magic. I personally have never been a big magic fan, so I don't really see this universe having magic. But yeah, as of right now, I want to base it in reality as much as possible, and not the Arrow way, where it's just like no powers ever. I don't want to do that, but it's definitely more of a focus on Invulnerable and Casey's power set, and what it's like to have a world with only one superhero and what that really means. So as of right now, there won't be any magic. You never know. All right. Next question is from Tevia. That I want to join for Media Madness for Dragon Ball Z because I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. As of right now, we already have our guest for that one. So in Comic Book Fan has been waiting a long time for that. So for right now, it's just going to be Jeremy and Comic Book Fan. But Tavia, definitely leave your comments for that episode. That way we can read them off, and you can join the conversation that way. Comic Book Fan 1992. Will there be a villain in the book? Yeah, it's a superhero book, so you're definitely going to see some villains. The question is when and who. So that's something we will be discovering throughout this arc. Who is the villain? Who knows? So that is the big thing. So let's move on. What else we got here? See if we got any more questions. Yes, we do. Yeah, so keep going with those questions, guys. Before I go to the other two questions, I guess I'll talk a little bit about, I don't know, what am I going to talk about? Issue 3 and 4, I guess. I want to talk a little bit about that too, what we're leading up to. I will say, because one thing I'm really happy about for issue 2 is that we're trying to get the issue out to you guys in November. It's like a month away. I've already handed in the script for issue 2 and 3. They're working on both. Short Fuse Media. And they're actually going to be working on issue 2. Wayne's going to be working on the inking and the artwork as the Kickstarter goes on. So we didn't end up doing that in issue 1 because obviously it was very new. We were learning about Kickstarter as we were doing this. And we learned a lot from the first Kickstarter. And now we're going to be working on the issue as this Kickstarter goes on. That way we could get it to your hands quicker. And so that's something we're really looking forward to, is having that book for you guys for November, and then starting out with issue 3, and hopefully make a good amount of money for this Kickstarter and a good amount of money for issue 2, that that will have enough for issue 3 I mean, that's the biggest goal. If we can make enough money for this Kickstarter, have enough for issue 3, and get that quicker to you guys, that'd be awesome. Because issue 3, damn, is a powerful emotional roller coaster, I would say. It's honestly like one of my favorites, and I'm really excited for you guys to read that one. I think it's really powerful, and I won't say anything about what the plot is yet about it, but it's something you've been waiting for since issue 1, with Casey and Invulnerable. So that's something I will say. It's like a little hint to it. And again, if you're waiting for that emotional hit, that's it. I mean, there's a lot of emotional issues. Issue 4 is really emotional too, but in like a totally different way. Yeah, I think issue 3 is going to surprise a lot of people. So I hope it will. I'm really excited for you guys to have that one in your hand. And again, issue 2 is a bit more on the geeky side, and more of the high school side. But issue 3 is it's also about high school towards the beginning, but it has a bigger picture to that in issue 3. All right, so that's me babbling a little, just to, put in some information along the way and get you guys to ask questions along the way. Let me see. I'm actually going to check out the Kickstarter page too. See, oh, and there we go. Right now we have, one thing I will say, right now we have 9 backers and $482. That's amazing to have that much amount of money in just a day. So thank you guys for backing up the project, and hopefully as I do this Q&A, you can back it up as we go along. So yeah, that's really awesome. We're already like 10% to our goal, and it's only been a day. We have like 36 days. That's really amazing, guys. Thank you for all the support. All right, so let's go back to the video. Let's see what comments we got. All right. Tevia, I'm just wondering, as for story ideas, I have one and the story is kind of similar to Superior Spider-Man, but here's a smart thing about the story. Unlike Superior Spider-Man, where everybody acted like an idiot in that series, my idea would be have Casey's enemies, or Invulnerable's enemies, body swap with one of them. But here's the smart thing. The villain does not win. Casey supporting characters figure out immediately, and there is not Casey, but someone else could this work. You know what? Fan fiction, that's what it's there for. And I think it's really cool that you guys have ideas from my ideas and really like the universe I've built. So yeah, make fan fiction, send it to Short Fuse Media, and that'd be really cool. All right, next, it's from Omnitron. You always say that at this point only, at this point only 2 people with powers, or there are only 2 peoples with powers. So does this mean the universe could be more like Watchmen, where mainly the bulk of superheroes are powerless, or be more like where slowly and eventually other people with powers will show up, possibly as a future story arc? In my mind, I say possibility. There's a big possibility, or there will be a possibility that there could be other people with powers. But again, as of right now, it's only the 2, and I want to explore that world. And you will see, you're going to have to see people without powers either want to do good or bad. So you're definitely going to see that, and that's going to be a big focus as of right now. All right, next. Knock, knock, it's me. How far have you written for Like Father, Like Daughter? Do you write as each Kickstarter comes up, or have you got the story laid out already? The first arc is, well, I will say that the story was a screenplay first, so I have mentioned that a couple of times. So I have that all plotted out. I have that whole story. It's the first arc. The screenplay. It's a 90-page screenplay, and it is the first arc. It's a huge arc, but it's the first arc of Like Father, Like Daughter. And what I have written out for issue-wise is up to issue 4, but I obviously know the story up to like issue 10, issue 8. So really excited to tell those stories. There's a lot of twists and turns as we go around for this book. So yeah, I have a lot written down. And I have ideas of where I wanted to go after the screenplay is over. So I'm already plotting that in my head. I've got a lot of different ideas I want to do. So there's a lot of story to come. I do have up to issue 4. And I sent issue 2 and 3 to Short Fuse Media, so they have that in their hands. They've seen the screenplay also. There's only a few people that have seen the screenplay to show them the story. But so they know where it's going, and yeah. So, but they do have issue 2 and 3, and they're working on both of those. So issue 3 is going to be worked on very soon also. So really excited about that. And issue 2 is in the process of being made as we speak. All right, let's see if we got any more. All right, yeah, we do. And I see Jay in the comments. Thanks, Jay, for popping up. That's awesome. And he's on his hiatus, so thank you very much, Jay. All right. So Jay says, hey, Kat, what's the most important power to Invulnerable, and which is the most important to Casey? Great question. That's an awesome question. I would say, well, the power sets they have for Invulnerable as of right now is that they're strong, they're vulnerable, and they can run really fast. And you know, obviously with those powers, you could do other things, like you could jump really high because of your strength and your legs. I feel the most important to. That's a really hard question. I would say the most important to Casey is definitely invulnerability because of her feelings. You know, of how much with her father leaving, she definitely has some bottled up feelings, and she wants to feel invulnerable when she doesn't feel invulnerable. And I think that's one of my favorite powers is the vulnerability aspect. And I think, you know, I was to go with invulnerable. You know, that's him being his favorite also because we know his name is Jeff. You know, Jeff. He has a lot going on for him too. He has a lot of emotions. He's not just this like emotionalist guy. I would say he's kind of kid-like in a lot of ways. Like he's one of those people that just never grew up, and you're gonna see that a lot in different scenes. So both of them, I think, is their favorite, being physically invulnerable but emotionally not at all. So that's definitely, I think, both of their favorites. So they got something in common. That's an awesome question, Jay. That's definitely something I had to think about. All right, so next question is from Tevia. Speaking of story ideas for future stories, I'm just wondering, are we going to see parallel universes like the example of MC2 universe with Spire Girl, or another example is Bioshock, so just parallel universes? Not right now. Right now I'm concentrating on the one universe I have, you know, building that universe and making it bigger and, you know, making it more deep and have more depth to it. So focusing on one universe now. If there's, you know, a big event that happens in this book where I feel like they're, you know, like a what if story or parallel universe, sure, I'll make it. But not as of right now. And also those things have big companies that have a lot of money, so they're able to create more than one series. And as of right now, I, you know, only have enough to create this one series. So it'd be a lot harder creating more than one series. Although Short Fuse Media is doing a team up series I'm working on with them. That Vulnerable's gonna pop up there. So that's kind of cool. It's not a parallel universe, but it's a non-canon story teaming up with other heroes from different universes. So pretty sure it's like Heroes Ignite, it's called. You have to come back to me on that one. So that's coming soonish. We're still like working on that. So you've seen if you backed up the first issue, you could see the promo image of that, and which heroes are going to be in that. Again, that's non-canon because in my universe there are no other heroes, but the non-canon story, that's, you know, going to be a lot of fun. I guess could be a parallel universe. Hopefully that answers your question. All right, moving on to the next question. All right, we got a couple here. Oh, right. I actually did forget to answer one of the questions that someone else asked that I guess I just went on a tangent on one of them. But will Casey have a suit? Will she have a costume? Again, she doesn't even want to be a superhero. You know, in the first issue, she's just like, hey, I gotta like learn what these powers are all about because I need to control them. You know, I don't want to like slam a desk and make it break or something. I don't want to open a door and have it go off the hinges. She wants to be a normal person, so she's got to be able to control her powers a bit. So that's something she wants to learn, but she doesn't want to be a superhero at this point. I mean, that's the reason her father left, was become a superhero. So she doesn't want to become a superhero because, again, that's why she didn't have a father in her life. So yeah, as of right now, she's definitely not going to have a costume because she doesn't even want to be a superhero. All right, next question. So Omnitron says, for Casey's eventual costume, mask or no mask? If she was gonna have a costume, she would have a mask. I mean, she wants to conceal her identity. Vulnerable doesn't have a mask because he doesn't have a secret identity because he kind of left that behind when he left his family. So he's like this Superman type character, no mask. Casey, if she was gonna have a superhero identity, which I'm saying she at this point she's not because she doesn't want to be a superhero, but she would like in another story. Yeah, mask definitely. She's gonna want to conceal that identity of hers. She's a regular high school student. She's gonna want to keep that. Omnitron, could Casey develop different powers than Invulnerable at some point? Keep reading. I'm gonna tell you that. Keep reading. Tevia, question, speaking of Kickstarter backers, you wanted to let you know I backed the project right before the live stream started. Just want to let you know, and I'm going to keep my promise and review issue 2 and review issue 1 like I promised way back at issue 1. Well, thank you, Tevia. Hopefully I get to see both those reviews soon. When you want to post the issue 1 and are you going to post them together, or definitely let me know that I could share it. So if you want, you can even review issue 1 now, and I can post it on the site. And then you can review issue 2 when it comes out. But yeah, that'd be awesome. And thank you for backing up, and anyone who backed up the project so far. It's really appreciative because again, if we meet our goal, this issue 2 is going to be a possibility, and more issues will be a possibility. So thank you guys. Actually, I'm going to check out the page now, see if we have any more backers. Not yet. So we have 9. Again, 9 backers and $482. Not bad. And 10 viewers for this show, so that's pretty good. All right, so let's move on to more questions. All right. Oh, yeah, we got some good ones here. And also, Jay was saying hi to Tevia, and Jay said hi to Tevia back. And next question is from the Omnitron. While you mentioned no humans at this point having powers, does that exclude aliens? If not, do you plan on introducing aliens at some point? No aliens from space at this point. So yeah, not yet. I'm gonna, hey, you never know, maybe one day. But at this point, no aliens. Again, it's a pretty grounded story, especially for this arc. So no aliens at this point. Other review dude, did you have time to grow from putting out issue 1? If so, what did you take from that into issue number 2? Yeah, definitely. I think this whole thing's a learning experience. Writing's a learning experience. The more you write, the more you learn. And yeah, I definitely learned more. I learned more about working with artists. That was really cool. With issue 2, I collaborated a bit more with Wayne. We talked through Facebook. We left messages to each other. Issue 1, we didn't really get to talk to each other that much, so it was really cool to collaborate with him more. And him asking me questions like, oh, is this what you want? Is this where it's going? I'm like, yeah, do this, blah, blah, blah. And then, give him suggestions. So that was really cool, having that collaborative moment, and hopefully more of that as issue 3 and issue 2 goes on. We definitely been talking more, so that's great. Working with Short Fuse Media more, learning more about their brain on things and my brain on things, and collaborating with them. Yeah, so learning about that. And yeah, again, the writing side, well, honestly, the Kickstarter side, learning more about that. I mean, Kickstarter is really relatively new to me in issue 1. Like, obviously, I knew what it was about, but there's a lot of hard work that goes behind it. Of course, doing these shows, promoting it, letting people know about it, trying to meet your goal. That's a big thing. And I learned a lot about that in issue 1, how to promote it, how not to promote it, to do even more. And, this semester I had, a lot less than I had this semester when I did issue 1. I remember it was like one of my craziest semesters ever, and I had the Kickstarter going on at the same time. Here it's a little bit of an easier semester, so I'm happy about that. I get to concentrate on the Kickstarter a bit more. And even though I concentrated so much on issue 1, but I get to put like 110%, and I'm excited about that. Trying to get articles up, trying to spread the word there. Yeah, spreading the word more. That's the best thing. And if you guys want to help in any way, back up the project, and also spread the word to your friends. That's the biggest thing, letting people know about it. So yeah, I learned a lot about, and also giving giving the gifts. That's a big thing. Short Fuse Media had to like mail everything to me. I had to sign it all. I did my first convention as I'd done exhibiting conventions before, but not for my own project or my own product. So that was a real learning experience, like being on the other side of the table. I've gone to conventions for a really, really long time as either a fan or press. This is my first time, doing a table, and we sold like 110 books, which was crazy. But you know what? Just learning about costs, learning more about business, it's interesting. So it's a longer answer, but yeah, everything's a learning experience. I think with every Kickstarter, in every issue, I'm going to learn more and more, and that's the best thing about this experience. All right, next question is from Exile State Comics. Made it back from Dragon Con in time for the live show. Sitting here with issue 1. Can't wait for issue 2. First of all, thank you so much for buying issue 1 and for everyone that supported issue 1. Even if you didn't support issue 1, thank you guys for being on the show. And you have an opportunity to support issue 1 by supporting issue 2. Because for people that did not kickstart or back up issue 1, you do have a chance to get issue 1 with this Kickstarter, which I think Short Fuse Media did such a great job with. So that's something I wanted to say. But thank you. I'm really appreciate that. Cons are a hard day. I was just talking about that. Either if you're going to a con or in a table at a con, they're both really hard and they're exhausting, and I usually crash. So thank you for coming in, watching the show. All right, let's go to the next question. Billy Superman J, you're welcome, Kat. How will gaining powers herself affect her relationship with those around her, like her mother, father, and friends? It affects it a lot because Casey's like a new person now. I think she's really confused herself because she knows. Like any hero, you don't want to become a villain by using your powers. You want to use these powers responsibly. You want to know more about your powers a bit, and I think at this point Casey just wants to know more about herself. She really didn't have her father in her life, so there was definitely that missing link. In here there's just like this thing that makes her different, and she doesn't want to be different. She's in high school. She wants to blend in as much as possible. Even though she definitely has confidence in herself, she doesn't want to be different. That would suck. She doesn't want, at least for her, in her opinion, it sucked to be different. And she has good friends. Especially Stephanie that you get to see in issue 1. She's lucky to have a good friend that just supports her throughout. And there's going to be fun adventures with that. And then seeing that her mother is just like totally standoffish about it because denial, maybe in the back of her head she's like, oh, I know this girl has powers, but I can't handle that right now because my husband left me to become a full-time superhero. So yeah, relationships changed because of it. I think Stephanie got closer to Casey because of it. Like their bond as friends, they understand each other even more, and Stephanie's able to help her through all this. So yeah, bonds change, but yeah, this definitely, and that's what this whole arc is going to be about. It's going to be about relationships and how superpowers can complicate them. And isn't that what the whole point of Jeff leaving was? Is that yeah, superpowers kind of complicated things and childish, and he left. He just like can't handle all this, but you'll find out, exactly why he does it, and that's definitely part of the story. All right, moving on to some more questions. Let's see. Hey, we got more. All right, yeah, we got a lot more. Awesome. I just want to make sure that I didn't miss any. All right, knock, it's me. Dang it, I have so many questions, but there are big spoiler questions, so I won't ask those questions. But what I will ask, will this story spread out into political world, like how Spider-Man has relationships with Major and with Mayor, and whatnots? Yeah. I want to say, I've always been interested in politics, so yeah. It'll touch upon it, definitely. It'll definitely touch upon it, because this is a realistic world, so how will politics or government, react to a world with a superhero? I think I'll touch upon that a bit. Tevia says, I'm just wondering if Casey's father ever met or ever meet Mark Grayson's father, aka Invincible's father. Would he discuss? Would he be discussed by Mark Grayson's father's actions, or disgusted, or would he try to redeem Invincible's father like he is doing right now on Invincible series? You know, I have to say, read the book. There's still a lot to learn about Invulnerable, so I don't really want to spoil it. So I can't really answer that question, because then you know his motives, you know exactly what's in his brain. And at this point in issue 1, you really don't know much about Jeff, except that seems like he cares for his daughter. Why would he leave? So yeah, I'm gonna say hold off on that question, but as you read more issues, you might get answers to that. Comic Fan 1992. Is there ending of Like Father Like Daughter? Is there ending of Like Father Like Daughter? Because there's only so much you could tell you when you run out of ideas. I hope we don't get there, but you never know. There's a lot of story to tell at this point. You know, again, I keep getting ideas from it. And think about like heroes like Batman, Spider-Man. They've been telling their stories for 75 years or plus, or even like indie books like Savage Dragon or Invincible being one. Yeah, there's a lot of story to tell. This is just the beginning. And I keep saying that in the end of stuff, like my webcomic, it truly is just the beginning. And truly, this is an origin story. So that's a big thing. All right, next. Other review dude. Oh no, look out. Oh wait, cat. Came prepared. All right, next is Tevia. Question, I'm just wondering, since your comic is exploring superhero tropes, I'm just wondering, is your comic going to take on the trope of secret identity? And is Casey going to have a secret identity like Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, or have no secret identity like Mark? Also, is your comic going to take a controversial subject of marriage in comics and basically say F you to Joe Quesada? Just wondering. You know, again, since, you know, Casey's mom is going to be a big part of the book. We're going to see that. Yeah, of course, I got to talk about marriage. He left her to become a full-time superhero. So there'll be discussions of marriage. Not, again, what about stories is you could take whatever you want from them. If you feel that the story is saying something about Marvel or DC, then that's what you take from it. But it doesn't necessarily have to. It's my own story. And, you know, I'm telling story there. The other question is about secret identities. And like I said, Casey's not a superhero. So she doesn't want to be a superhero. Her father left her to become a superhero. So no secret identity at this point. I mean, she wants to hire powers. You know, she at the same time doesn't, because she told Stephanie and her mom, you know, in the beginning. So she doesn't want to hide her powers to everybody, but she doesn't want like people who doesn't know, you know about her powers. So yeah, she definitely hiding them for the most part to control them, but I mean, right now I think she's pretty nonchalant about it. She's like, "Hey, Stephanie, guess what? I have superpowers." So she's telling a lot of people at this point. But yeah, again, if she did have a costume, I do believe she would want a secret identity. Next question. Other review dude says, when writing Casey, did you take any inspiration from some of your favorites or least favorite characters in comics? I think all writers do. Not directly saying, oh, well, this is Spider-Girl, or this is Stephanie Brown, or is this Kitty Pryde. I think it just kind of naturally happens. You find the things you love about characters, and you kind of put them in your characters too, but obviously create your own characters at the same time. So yeah, not directly, but I'm sure, you know, you get influences from things you read and things you like. All right, next is the Omnitron 12345. You were to introduce non-powered heroes down the line. I had one in mind for a while, but due to personal reasons of money restrictions, and especially time on my end, you could use him at any point and not even credit me if you don't want to. Just want to see him out there. Sorry if I sound needy or pushy. Just let me know if you'd be interested either way. If you have a hero or someone in mind, the best way to do that, we have a backer gift to put your own character in the Like Father Like Daughter universe. Let me see exactly what the number is. Let me see. I think it's like $100 is to be a cameo. 150 is the action figure. Get custom made action figure as a character with This might be it. 250. No, I think this is just an action figure. Get a custom-made action figure of you as a character within the Like Father Like Daughter universe added with. So that's an action figure. This is the $300. You don't have to put yourself into a comic, but you could add characters you really like. Again, the comic duo one that happened in the issue 1 Kickstarter for $300. All the previous rewards plus becoming a recurring character within a story arc that makes place in a future issue or a companion comic. So if you do have a character in mind that you really want to see, you could back up the project for $300, and you'll get a recurring character, you'll get an action figure, you get all these things, so you get a lot of prizes, but you're able to get a recurring character. So you can use that character instead of yourself instead. So that's something you can do if you want to put your character in the Like Father Like Daughter universe. Hopefully that answers your question. All right, moving on to the next one. And for some reason, I just got these random dislikes. That wasn't nice. All right, moving on. I see one here. It's from Tevia. Question, I'm just wondering, what is your opinion of Mark Waid's Your Redeemable series? Because I know, well, that's a little bit off topic for Like Father Like Daughter, but I will answer it. I'm thinking, is that the one? I think I read it. It's from Boom, I think. Let me search it because I think I read it a really long time ago. No, I actually haven't read Your Redeemable, so I don't have an opinion on it. But it does look really cool. From what I'm looking at, it does look like a cool series. But yeah, I haven't read it, so no opinion on that. All right, let me load up more questions. What was this troll that's just like, I don't know why I'm getting these random dislikes. It's not nice. Anyways, moving on. I will disconnect the likes and dislikes after. Let me see. Trying to find more questions. All right, here's from the other review dude. How hands-on were you with the art style on Like Father Like Daughter? Very hands-on for that. When I first approached Short Fuse Media, Short Fuse Media approached me, they said, what type of art style do you want? And we really discussed about what the characters would look like. I showed them images or, people I really, really want them to look like, descriptions. And they said, oh, so what art style would you like? And I said, I really want to show expression. That's something I really want. I wanted it to be clean, kind of realistic art. So they gave me Wayne, they hired Wayne Brown, and it was this exact art style I wanted. And so I was very hands-on with the art style and telling them which type of style I think worked for the comic. All right, next question is from Jay. We live in a day of merchandising, and Like Father Like Daughter has some really cool swag out there from issue 2. Will there be new stuff from issue 4 or from issue 2? As of right now, yeah, we have still the action figures that we did for the last campaign, and you can still make an action figure yourself. I know when I was doing the booth for Special New York Comic Con, a lot of people were impressed with the action figures. So that was cool. So yeah, you can make an action figure of yourself and place it into the Like Father Like Daughter universe. So that's kind of cool. It'll be like a Like Father Like Daughter little packaging. So that's something you can do. And also now we have t-shirts. So that's something new. I just got the t-shirts when I was doing Special New York Comic Con to promote that. Now you guys can get the t-shirts. You can also buy it off the J store, I think it's called. One of the stores you could buy Like Father Like Daughter with. You can buy t-shirts, but it comes with the Kickstarter, so you get a lot of different perks here. So those are something new that you can get. Of course, you get an issue 2, so that's new. So that's a new story there. So those are kind of the new products as of right now, and hopefully as we get into issue 3, and hopefully Like Father Like Daughter becomes even more popular, we'll get more merchandise, and that's something we're looking for. I know Short Fuse Media definitely has a lot of ideas, and have a lot of resources. That's pretty cool. All right, I am going to reload. I also want to check these dislikes. I was like, yeah, someone is, I'm going to have to reset that because someone is being a nasty troll there because I got 16 dislikes. Not nice. Anyways, I will edit that after. So let's go into, I think this is, yeah. Tevia, question. Speaking of Casey as a character, I'm just wondering, is your character inspired by the Ultimate Spider-Man comics? I think I've answered this before. No, I really wasn't thinking about the Ultimate comics at all when creating my characters. All right, next question's from Knock Knock, It's Me. I find it funny how some are expecting Casey to go into the hero role. I think the opposite, especially looking at the front cover issue 1. That's my opinion. Yeah, again, as of right now, it really isn't her going to the hero role. It's her having powers and not wanting to be a hero. And I think that's kind of the cool thing, because I feel like, again, such a superhero trope is that, oh, I have powers. Let me do something with them, and let me be a hero. And I think that's always been these type of comics. And of course, that's what a superhero comic is. But here it's like, well, I've seen someone who's a hero, and I don't really like that guy that much, so I don't really want to do that. But I have these powers. Like, do I do something with it? You know, I am different from people. What do I do? So she's in like this very confused state, and she's trying to figure herself out. And that's really what high school is about too. It's about figuring yourself out, figuring out who you are. And now Casey has this added thing of having superpowers. So yeah, it's definitely more of a discovery book. And that's what I love about high school books too. It is this self-discovery, because you become who you are, or at least you start to become who you are in high school, and then life journey, you figure out who you are as life goes on. But you definitely get a touch of who you are in high school. All right, let's see. More questions. First, I want to. Oh no, can't do that yet. Hold on. It's gonna be like I hate seeing these 16 dislikes. I just don't like it. Anyways, moving on to the next question. All right, hold on. I think that's all the questions for now. So I could just talk a little bit more about the Kickstarter. Oh no, yeah, those are all the questions for now. So guys, just keep coming up with those questions, and I'll answer them as we go along. So right now we're on almost the hour point, so I'll probably go into like an hour and a half and probably end it there. But I definitely want to answer more of your questions. It's the launch party, so I'd like to do that. So give me a minute. Just want to see something. You can look at the Kickstarter too. Let me look at that. See if we got anything as I wait for some questions here. See if we got any more backers. So right now we don't, but 35 days left. We definitely have a good amount of days left. Let's see if we got anything on like Facebook or Twitter. Nothing on Facebook right now. We got anything on Twitter? Sometimes people end up leaving questions on Twitter, and I miss them live. I don't want to do that to you guys, so oh, we got a lot of notifications. All right, it doesn't seem like it's for this, so I'll wait. So anyways, talking about like father, like daughter. Let's see if we got any more questions. Let's see. Yes, we do. We have one more question. So yes, keep going with those questions, and I'll answer them. Again, I'll probably go into like an hour and a half. Got about half an hour left. The other review dude, what was the most difficult part of creating this comic other than being a student going to university? Hardest part, you know, building the world, I think was the hardest part. You know, it's difficult to say, all right, these are the rules of the world, and following them all the way through, and figuring out what the rules of the world are. So I think that was the hardest part of writing the story. The characters were relatively easy. I figured out the characters pretty quickly. I guess, you know, having characters that are only one superhero in the world, it gets a little difficult because, you know, you only have 2 people with powers, so that's a little difficult. Personal, again, the business side of things, I'm more of the creative side, so to do like the Kickstarter, learning more about that, learning more about the business side, especially if you're an indie company. It's really different than, you know, working for like Marvel or DC, because they worry about, oh, well, you have to publish this. You have to, you know, they have people to promote stuff. They have people to publish it. They have other people. For indie book, you do a lot of stuff by yourself, you know, and you got to figure out a lot of roles. I'm not just a writer. I am the editor. I am the promoter. I am you know, a lot of things. And of course, Short Fuse Media does a lot too. And we all take on roles that in a normal, you know, mainstream company, they have like 10,000 people to do. For us, we have maybe like 3 or 4, you know, and we have to take on all these different roles to create this comic. So that's the hardest part, and I think a lot of people don't notice. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. All right, let's see if there's any more questions. Let's see, yes, looks like we do. Tevia, speaking of story ideas, I'm just wondering, is your series going to explore time travel stories or use big event stories like the Clone Saga? And better yet, another idea to create Casey's friend, a speedster like Flash. Again, as of right now, well, you know, Casey does have speed powers, so that's kind of cool. But as of right now, it's just Casey and Invulnerable. There's not going to be any time travel. I think time travel gets really confusing, so I'm going to try to stay away from time travel as long as possible, because, yeah, that gets confusing. Like, here's a parallel universe, here's another universe. This could actually happen. No, this happened. Butterfly effect. So that gets a bit confusing. So I don't really want to do any time travel in my stories. But no speedsters besides Casey or Vulnerable, because technically they're just run fast. They're not really speedsters because, you know, they go like 80 miles per hour. They're not like, you know, speed, you know, fast as a bullet, really fast, but they're fast. But not, I mean, they are inhumanly fast, but I feel like they're not like Flash fast. So I remember I did get a question a while back of like, who do you think is faster, Vulnerable, Flash, or Superman? I said they're all faster than Vulnerable. He's not supposed to be that fast, you know. Try to ground his powers a bit more. All right, moving on. This is from Tevia. Question: I'm just wondering if your story is going to explore death and the consequences of death, or better yet, in your universe, are you going to explore heaven or hell? Just wondering. I feel like, you know, talking about death of the story, that would be spoiling stuff. So I can't say if there is a death or not a death, or if death is explored, because that'd be too spoilerly. So can't talk about that. All right, next question. All right, let's see. Knock, knock, it's me. Do we get to see more of Invulnerable's personal life and what he does on off day later on? He seems super depressed. Poor guy. LOL. He does seem super depressed. Yeah, you know, we're going to explore a little bit about what he does when he's not being a superhero. And it's pretty depressing. It's pretty much what he does in the first issue of him just like writing in journals and saying, oh, well, this could have been. Yeah, you know, we explore a little bit of him in issue 2. I'll say explore a little bit of maybe friends, maybe not friends, people he interacts with in issue 2. So I'll say that. I would say we also explore Invulnerable a lot more in issue 3 and 4. Issue 2 is a bit more about Casey, but you still get Invulnerable in this issue. You get probably the same amount of Invulnerable you got in issue 1. You're going to get in issue 2. And then issue 3 and 4, you get a lot of Invulnerable. So if you want to see Invulnerable, those issues, you're going to see a lot more of him. Next question is from the other review dude. Just finished reading Like Father, Like Daughter issue 1 for the first time during the stream, and I really, really liked it. Oh, awesome. That is really cool that you read it during the stream. Let me know in the comments what exactly you like. You know, let me know, and you can ask more questions about issue 1 since I'm here. It's really cool that you read it during the stream for the first time. Awesome. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts in the comments about it, and you know what questions you have from issue 1. It's pretty cool. One thing I will do, hopefully, when issue 2 is funded, I'll have another stream of probably like a couple weeks after, like I did with issue 1, where I'll answer your questions about issue 2. That's something I like about being a YouTuber and a writer, is that I have this outlet that I can do that with you guys. I can talk about the issue as the writer, you know, and you know, answer your questions right away. So that's kind of cool. So I'm gonna be doing that aftermath stuff, and I do this too. You know, I'm gonna be doing promotions throughout the month about Like Father, Like Daughter. So I'll be doing this every week. So I'm here all week. That was a bad joke. All right, let's move on to the next question or next comment. All right, next thing is from Tevia. Speaking of Casey's mother, I'm just wondering, are we going to explore Casey's mother's love life and how she met Casey's father? Just wondering. Um, yeah, I'm going to say we're going to explore more of Casey's mother in general. I won't say if we're going to explore more of her love life, but yeah, we're going to explore more about her relationship with Casey especially, and a bit more about her relationship with Invulnerable. All right, going to the next question. Next is from the other review dude. So if Vulnerable's a full-time superhero, where does he live? We saw a little, hold on, let me see someone else. Yeah, okay. We saw a little glimpse of that in issue 1 in the end. He kind of just lives in this dinky place. He lives, the way I say is like this abandoned like warehouse in a way. It's really dark. It's depressing, and that's where he lives. And it's really bland because he doesn't have a family. He has nothing on his walls. It's like a bed. It's all the necessities. You got like a little refrigerator, like a mini fridge, toaster oven. You know, he definitely like kind of lives modestly, which is interesting because you wouldn't think he would because he's this huge celebrity. And he definitely has money. He can have money. He's doing all these interviews, so he gets money. I didn't explore this, but I'm sure he has like some sort of merchandise he gets money for, especially since he doesn't have a secret identity. He could do all this stuff. He could get money and just name it Invulnerable and get a check from that. So, yeah, it's kind of cool that he lives in a modest way. And, you know, we don't know exactly why. You'll find out why he lives in a modest way, but just part of his personality, which I think you could dig deep into that, which is why I put it there. I put it there because you could dig deep into who Invulnerable is, just the way he lives. So yeah, you see a glimpse of that, and you're going to see that even more play a part in future issues. All right, next question is from Tevia. Speaking of your series, I'm just wondering, are we going to find out Invulnerable's origin story? Like, did he get his powers, and is he like Superman, or is he like a person who accidentally hit something that got his powers? I can't answer that actually. It'd be too much of a spoiler. So, you know, you'll find out. You'll find out if you're gonna learn his origin story or not. All right, next question. Right now, we don't have any more questions, so I will wait and chit-chat as we go along. Check the Kickstarter page again, see if we got anything. Not as of right now. He's had the same amount of backers. So yeah, let's chit-chat a little bit more. Again, I'll get a couple more questions and probably end the live stream. But yeah, you know, hopefully you guys will back up the Kickstarter, and I'm really excited for issue 2 for you guys to read it. Again, if you want some of those geeky references, you're getting that in issue 2. Really excited for you guys to read that part. In the comments, let me know. What are you excited to read in issue 2? What do you want to see in issue 2? What do you want to see in the series? And I can answer. I can't answer if you're going to see it, but read them off and hear what you want. Yeah, and you know, we're gonna have a lot of cool stuff happening during the launch. Supposedly I saw that Short Views Media is gonna be doing like contests, so you could look forward to that to support the book and the Kickstarter. I'm hoping to get some more articles up and, you know, sharing this Kickstarter a bit more with more people, so hoping to do that. I still don't know what time the next Kickstarter live stream is going to be. It'll probably be during the weekend. It'll probably be a Saturday or Sunday. They'll have the next Kickstarter live stream. So excited about that. Be the same thing as this, but if Jay's free, maybe he'll be moderating it. And hopefully if Short Views Media is free, they'll be here to answer questions also. So it'll be a bit bigger. I remember I started the issue 1 Kickstarter the same way, where it was just me, and then got bigger and bigger as we got along. So that's something we'll look forward to, and I'm looking forward to. So that's something. Yeah, hopefully we make our goal before 35 days. We're getting there close, and you just got to spread the word. And that's the best way to get issue 2 and to get issue 3 and to get issue 4. It's an indie company, so again, it's a struggle to get there, but with your help, hopefully we'll get there. All right, let's see if there's any more questions. Let's see. Yeah, it seems like we got a couple more. Tevia, question. Speaking of Marvel and DC Comics, I'm just wondering, are your characters going to grow up unlike Marvel and DC heroes who grow up because they won't let them, for example? Yeah, they're going to grow up. Again, this is more of a realistic comic where, you know, Casey's not going to be in high school forever. Right now she's 16, so she's probably like, you know, never actually thought about what year she was in. Yeah, she's probably, you know, she's a sophomore. She's a sophomore in high school. 16 years old. You know, she'll go through junior year. She'll go through senior year. She'll go through college or not college. We don't know what she'll choose. But yeah, you know, it's gonna be realistic. They're gonna grow up, and I think that's the fun part of this, is seeing them grow up. I don't want to see her in high school for 10 years, even though I think high school stories are so much fun. It's kind of cool to see them grow up, to see, you know, if she goes to college, if she doesn't go to college, what she does, yeah, and how her family's gonna be, how her friends will be at that time, how her supporting cast will be. Will the supporting cast change in the change of her environment? So yeah, I'm going to make them grow up. I think that's an important element to this book because it's realistic. And people grow up. They're not Peter Pan. They grow up. This is not Neverland. All right, moving on. All right, we got a lot of questions. Thank you. All right, let me see. Yeah, so keep coming with those questions. I'll continue. Knock, knock, it's me. I know many writers like to reference other pieces of literature or art in their own work. Death of a Salesman is mentioned in the first issue. Are there any similarities between the two stories, or do you just enjoy Death of a Salesman? Yeah, of course there's similarities. Yeah, I like putting literature in books, and again, just making as many comic book references as possible. But this is high school. I read Death of the Salesman in high school too. And kind of, you know, coincidentally, the teacher kind of looked like the teacher I had in high school, and I didn't tell them to say it looked like him. Kind of looked like him. I kind of wish he, you know, I won't get into that, but I was gonna say I wish he had like the attitude of him also. But you know, I could definitely flesh that out. You know, of course, writers put their life experiences in there. But anyways, I read Death of the Salesman in senior year of high school, and there's a lot of similarities. Death of the Salesman is about the American dream not really coming true, and the American dream doesn't really exist. It's just there. It's people created it for people to go be housewives, you know, and to have a perfect family, but it's not there. It's not a white picket fence. Even though in the first issue you get to see Casey walking out of a white picket fence, but is her family perfect? Far from it. You know, there's this image of being perfect in the American family, but it's not, no one has a perfect family. And I think that's what I'm really showing here, is that, you know, looks are deceiving. Casey, does she look like the daughter of a superhero? No. So yeah, it's about a lot about the American dream. So, and that's what Death of the Salesman is about. If you haven't read Death of the Salesman, it's about Willie Loman, and him kind of losing his mind throughout the book, but he wanted the American dream so bad he kind of lost what his family meant and his relationship with his family. So yeah, there's a lot of similarities between Death of the Salesman and this book, and that's why I did reference it. So that reference was there on purpose. It wasn't a random book. Now that I'm glad you caught that. That's awesome that you did put little things like that along the way. So, other review dude says, I really like Casey despite not wanting to be a hero. I really liked Casey despite not wanting to be a hero. Has the heroic drive insert issue 1 spoiler here. I love that we delved into a vulnerable side of the story. I laughed especially at Trash Can Fail. Yeah, so let's point out, I'll start with the first sentence that you said there. I really like Casey despite not wanting to be a hero, even though she does a heroic drive. Yeah, I did that on purpose, you know. I feel like, you know, there's this big thing, especially in Spider-Man books, and Spider-Man's completely referenced all over the place in this book because I love Spider-Man. And, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. And that will be referenced in the book, so I'm saying that there. So, you have these powers and you want to do the right thing. And I think Casey, Casey's a good person. She wants to do the right thing. And then she sees this little kid, he's going to die by doing a stupid thing, by getting a ball when the car is coming and not looking both ways. And she sees this like, all right, she didn't even know she had her powers. And I think that's the cool thing about this. She didn't know she had powers, but she wants to save this little kid because she doesn't want this kid to die. So, but in the end, a lot of people referenced that the person in the car looks dead already. So even my brother referenced that too. It's like, that person looks dead. So even though Casey's trying to help, that person looks pretty dead. So that's a good reference there. But yeah, she tries to do the heroic thing. And even though her father left her to do the heroic thing, she's still going to do it, at least in that issue. But is she going to fight these urges to do it? Probably. She doesn't want to be a superhero. She doesn't want to put a costume on. And that's why she says that in that first issue. She's like, all right, Stephanie, I'll do this. I'll train with you. But this doesn't mean I'm a superhero. And that means a lot. It means that, yeah, I want to control my powers. And even that moment where she runs and you have the inner monologue of like, I have superpowers. So she thinks it's cool, but she's like, oh my God, I have superpowers. What does this actually mean? So yeah, it's a lot of psychological things going on with that, and that's what I love about this book. There's a lot of psychological things between our characters, and I love those type of stories. Not bland characters, but characters you can really think about and have depth to themselves. And I think all these characters really do. Hope they do at least. So that's why I try to add. Second sentence of that is the other review dude said, I love that we delved into a vulnerable side of the story. Yeah, one thing I really wanted to do with that reveal in the first issue of the ending is that, this whole time I keep promoting the book as, this deadbeat dad. He leaves his kid to be a full-time superhero. Then you go towards the end of the book and he's writing this journal to Casey and says, I want to be the father that you deserve. It's like, why the hell did you leave then? So it's like, I wanted that to be a cliffhanger. It's like, oh, I need to read more because I need to learn, why the hell is this guy a good guy, but at the same time such a bad guy? So it's like, not everything's in black and white. There's things that are gray. And I think in Vulnerable, this situation is a very gray situation. Might not be right. It might not be wrong. It's interesting. So that's what I did with that cliffhanger. Next, in the last part of the other review dude said, I laughed, especially at the trash can foul. When I wrote that, I was really excited to see the visual of that. To just say, yeah, thanks, Stephanie. Now I have garbage all over me. So I'm glad you laughed at that. I try to put some humor throughout the book. All right, next is Knock Knock, It's Me. I want to see Casey kick some Vulnerable ass for leaving her. Yeah, me too. I want to see that too. But yeah, you're going to see Casey have a lot of emotion through all this whole issue of her not liking her father, and there's going to be a lot of emotion there. Will she kick her father's ass? We'll find out. Find out if they even come face to face. Other review dude, how many issues have you planned for Invulnerable? So for this book, Like Father, Like Daughter, again, right now I have about 10 issues plotted, but I don't really have an end game right now. I just have so many stories I want to tell for this universe. So this is my baby. This is like the book. I'm like, I want this to be like the Savage Dragon. I want to like just keep going on with it because there's so much story to tell. All right, we got Jay. Casey becomes a. All right, if Casey becomes a hero, what would her main motivation be? And if she decides not to be one, what would her main motivation be not to? So if she becomes a hero, what's her main motivation? To save people, to help people. Again, I don't think Casey is against being a hero because she doesn't want to help people. She wants, like, it's in her blood to help people. We'll see that. I would say especially in issue 3 that she wants to help people. She's not against that. But again, it's just like this real psychological thing. It's like, I don't want to be a superhero because that's the thing that kind of ruined my life. So, but if she doesn't become a superhero, her motivation would be that I don't want to be a superhero because that's the thing that ruined my life. I don't want to be in the limelight. I've seen my father in the limelight and it disgusts me. So I don't want to see that. So yeah, I think that would be the motivation not being in it. Because she doesn't want to, like, she wants to have a life. She wants to be in high school. She wants to be a normal person. But at the same time, she has this urge to help people. So I think that's an interesting thing we do see in issue 1 and as the series goes on. Jay says, I'm down for moderation duties. Thank you, Jay. That's awesome. I love you moderating the stuff. It's great. And it's such a fun show. It's fun to have more people on the show. So next week, Jay, we'll plan it. Tevia, question, speaking of stories, ideas, or video games, I'm just wondering if your series is successful enough. I'm just wondering, do you want to do a video game someday about your comic? And what story would you adapt to a video game or a motion comic? Because that would make me so happy to play that game, like The Wolf Among Us. I feel like that's such down the line. I know Short Fuse Media said they would be open to do a video game. So I don't know. Again, I haven't really thought about it. So I feel like that's such down the line. But Short Fuse Media wants to do it. We'll do it. And I'll come up with the story. I would have to play more video games because it's been a really long time since I have kind of see the story structure of a video game, because that's different than a comic and TV show. Like, I know how to write TV. I know how to write a movie. I know how to write, comics. But I don't really know how to write video games because I don't play them enough. So I would have to kind of learn the structure of a video game first if I was going to write one. All right, let's see if there's any more comments. Why did the video pause? I don't know. Let's see. There are more comments. Tevia, question, if you had the power to do a big crossover story with your series and Spawn, would you do it? Or would you get another writer to write it? Just wondering. I'd have another writer write it because I know nothing about Spawn, so I would do a crossover with something I know about. I don't even know if Spawn would fit the Like Father, Like Daughter universe, so I don't know. And then also I have to see if it fits. If I don't feel like it fits, I'll be like, oh, no, I don't really want to do a crossover, because if it's creatively not there, then I wouldn't do a crossover for it. All right, next question from Tevia. I'm just wondering if you'd had the opportunity to write your character for a cameo in Marvel or DC, would you do it? Or would you do the smart thing and make sure Marvel and DC Comics don't try and take away your character that you created for a crossover in both universes? Yeah, you figure out the legal things for it first. Yeah, I wouldn't just jump in and say, yeah, I use my character. So you have to figure out legal stuff for that first. All right, let's see if we got more. All right. Yes, we do. My next question's from the other review dude. I like the comic so much that I plan to do it as my first review back on my channel. What year does Invulnerable take place? Awesome, that's really cool. Let me know when the review's up. That way I could, post it on Facebook and Twitter and say it's out there. That's really cool. Let me know when that's happening. And what year is it? It's the current year. I'm saying it's like 2015, 2014. So I think it gets difficult when you say, oh, it's 2009. Yes, it's the year that's going on now. It's a modern book. The other review dude, should we consider this the end of summer Q&A? Yeah, I would say it is. Sorry guys that I didn't have like a traditional end of summer Q&A, just because this Kickstarter was coming up so quickly, especially close to September. It was kind of hard just to do a regular Q&A for that, because I have so many Q&As coming up for the Kickstarter. And also I had my cousin's wedding towards the end of the summer, so I didn't have a lot of time to do a Q&A. And then, school started. So, yes, consider this the end of summer Q&A. I'll probably do like a regular Q&A, like once I hit 8,000, hopefully soon. I'll do a regular Q&A, or before that, when I have a little free time after the Kickstarter, I'll do more Q&As. Because like I said, it seems like you guys enjoy it. Yeah, so keep going with the questions. It seems like we're getting a couple more. I see more viewers popping up too, so definitely ask more questions. And we still have time, so let's see. Sorry. All right. Tevia, speaking of Casey, I'm just wondering if Casey's going to somehow go to space, like Invulnerable. Like I said, before I read the rest of the comment, this is a grounded story, so as of right now, she's not going to space. So no space story as of right now. And also, like I answered before, there's like no aliens at this point. No aliens from space. All right. Next. Well, right now, that's all the questions we have. So I will babble for a little while and see if we got any more questions. we're getting to the hour and 17 mark. But yeah, I see you guys popping in, so definitely ask your questions. Especially if you read issue 1. If you have any specific questions, any details about issue 1, you can ask them. It was cool that I got it was cool that I got a steady viewership during the show, so that was kind of cool. So yeah, next week I'll have another Q&A. It's gonna be bigger and better. But this Q&A was still good. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Except for the troll gave me 17 dislikes, guys. People. Anyways, but yeah, you know, worked hard to create this book, working hard to promote the book, and excited for you guys to read it. And I guess I could talk about some stuff coming up for the channel as I wait for some questions. You know, TV shows are coming up really soon. I think next week I'm going to the Paley Center for the Fall Fest. They have they show the pilots a little early, so I'll be going to that. Supergirl I'm going to see for like the 3rd time because I saw Supergirl a couple times at San Diego Comic-Con. So I'm going to be seeing that, and this time so my family's going to go see it, so I'm excited about that. I want to see Quantico, so that's going to be there. Scream Queens is going to be there, so I'm going to be reviewing all these shows. Muppets, sadly, is not going to be there. I'm actually really excited for the Muppets. It's not going to be there. Grandfathered is going to be there. That's just kind of one of the shows I got to see because it's in between. That's sometimes that happens, like because you sit in a room, you wait for the next pilot to show. So some of the pilots you're not so much interested in, you got to sit through, but sometimes they surprise you. So I got to see a lot of pilots last year because of it. So excited about that. So yeah, gonna see those. That's gonna be next weekend, so look forward to that. New York Comic Con's coming up really soon. Excited about that. They just kind of released some of the schedule, so I'm trying to plan some of those interviews. So excited about that. That's coming up. Arrow and Flash, of course, I'll be reviewing that when that comes back. Supergirl I'll be reviewing. Heroes Reborn I'll be reviewing. So those are the 4 shows. Walking Dead I probably will review. A little update about Fear the Walking Dead, though. I know I started reviewing that, but it just, you know, weekends wasn't able to do it for the past 2 weeks. So I decided, since it's only a 6-episode series, I'm going to review the whole season instead of reviewing episode by episode. So that's what I'm going to do with Fear the Walking Dead. In The Walking Dead, I should be reviewing episode by episode. I'm still debating if I'm going to review Once Upon a Time. Seems like you guys want me to, so I probably will. It's Sunday show. And maybe some of the newer shows. We'll see if I'm going to review it. So Monday I have Supergirl. Tuesday I have Flash. Wednesday I have Arrow. Thursday I have Heroes. And then Sunday I have Walking Dead and Once Upon a Time. And we'll see if there's any other shows that pop up. There usually are. And then comic reviews will be all the same. So, and there's a lot of events coming up. A lot of new Marvel titles. So excited for that. Yeah, just setting up for like Father Like Daughter too. You know, the Kickstarter is taking a lot of time, but I'm excited about it. Doing a lot of written articles on it, so excited about all this stuff. And a lot of stuff on my plate, but I'm excited about all of it. So look forward to all that, guys. All right, so let's see if there's any more questions. And I'm going to refresh. Oh, we got another backer, guys. We got 10 backers now. Thank you, guys. I'm glad we got a backer during this show. I'm going to just check who it is to see if I get a name. Stephanie backed up the Kickstarter. So thank you, Stephanie. I don't know if you're watching, but I really appreciate that. So we got another backer during this show. That is awesome. 10 backers in one day. And 10 viewers as we do this. So thank you. Oh, and 12 likes right now. Thank you. Thank you all. All right, next question is from Tevia. Question, speaking of superheroes comics and your comic, I'm just wondering, as a writer, how do you avoid the trap that most writers end up, for example, Dan Slott, his Spider-Man run, and how do you make sure you don't run out of ideas? Oh, so the trap of running out of ideas. I don't think Dan Slott's run out of ideas. I like his writing. So anyways, how do I, stay out of the trap of running out of ideas? First of all, it's a new series, so I have not run out of ideas. And you brainstorm, you see your environment, you see what you like, you see what you dislike, and that's how you brainstorm. You see the world around you, you read, you watch, and that's how you come up with more ideas, is by experiencing life and, seeing how your characters would react to that, and then you'll spur some ideas. I like to meditate, not like, ooh, hum and like close my eyes, but I like to, think, sit, write. That's something I really like to do. So, yet not the traditional meditation, but I like to listen to some music, get some thoughts down. So I think that helps, is to kind of clear your mind and meditate a bit. So I know it sounds a little sappy, but I like doing that. So I just dropped some water. All right, let's see. Oh, we got more questions. Have you asked some more? Question. I'm just wondering what's your opinion on anime sort of art line? I actually just heard of this one. I know it's a little off topic, but I'm just wondering, what's your opinion? I have never seen it, but someone I think it was Comic Book Fan 1992 just recommended it. So it's on the list, I think. Or maybe he recommended Fairy Tales. Right now I'm watching Tokyo Ghoul, and I'm liking it so far. So that's the anime I'm watching. I have to watch Dragon Ball Z for the Media Madness coming up. So, all right, now we got some more questions. Other review dude. How much should we rely on cues from the art to speculate on future issues? Because there's a panel that makes me think, ooh, I don't know about you. Well, tell me which panel. I think, there's definitely some things in the art that you're going to find that might be for future issues. But I will say that my artist doesn't have the screenplay, so he doesn't know from the future of what's going to happen. So, but yeah, he knows a couple issues in the future. So, yeah, tell me though. Let me know what you think in the art that gives you a cue. All right, Exile State Comics. Are we going to see the journal from issue 1 again? That was very deep, reflective couple of pages. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that you enjoyed that. I wanted a good cliffhanger for that issue, but also a deep one that can make you think of the Vorpal's character as you wait for more issues. You'll see the journals again. They're definitely important. They weren't just a one-issue thing. You'll see them again. Next question is from Knock Knock. It's me. I'm going to get back as soon as this ends. My wallet is upstairs and I don't feel like moving. That's awesome. Don't worry. Thank you so much for backing me up. That really means a lot. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching the show as it goes along. See if we have any more questions. All right, well, it seems like that's all the questions we have, and we're getting to the hour-and-a-half point. But if you guys have any questions post-show, let me know, and I'll answer them as we go along. If you guys have any questions about the Kickstarter, let me know. Yeah, and any questions in general, let me know. I'm always responsive. I'm always checking the YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, so definitely, ask me questions if you have it. Thank you guys for joining this show. And again, hopefully you could back up the Kickstarter. That will really help spread the word about the Kickstarter. And then sometime next week, I will have the live show again. And hopefully I'll have Jay moderating. Hopefully we'll have Short Fuse Media here. So really excited about that. So look forward to that. I think we're actually having a production meeting on Wednesday too. So I'll probably have even more information for you guys for next time. So thank you guys so much for joining this launch party. And thank you for backing up the project if you have. Thank you for backing up the project for issue 1 if you have. Yeah, thank you. And thank you just for your support. I really appreciate it. And spread the word. And I can't wait for you guys to read issue 2 and to continue this journey. I just want to reload the page one more time just to make sure we don't have any more questions. So we might as we end the story. Yeah, we actually do have I think a couple. Yeah, we do have like 1 or 2 more questions, so I'll answer that. Speaking of anime, what's your series? I'm just wondering, is your comic going to borrow some elements from certain anime series, like example Death Note or anime series? Not this comic is not, because it's definitely more about and I think, yeah, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, no, this is definitely more about American comics, so it's definitely more about American culture. I am writing a story now that I want to be a little bit more about Japanese culture, so if I write a Japanese culture book, that's going to influence more about anime, because that's more with Japanese culture than American culture. This is definitely more about American comics, America. So you're going to see more of that. So nothing from anime for this. All right. Let's see. We got another thing. Yes, we do have a couple more comments. Knock knock. It's me. The end of issue 1 is vulnerable or Jim, and the one thing I noticed before I said Jeff for some reason. Sorry, my mind was being stupid. Jim, of course. So I just realized that. I'm like, why the hell did I say Jeff? And I just realized I said Jeff. So sorry I didn't correct myself there. Knock knock, it's me. The end of issue 1 is a vulnerable or Jim putting away his notebook, and in captions it says just the beginning. That seems very ambiguous, as if there's a second meaning. Yeah, it is ambiguous. It is. Definitely means a bit more. It is just the beginning. And there's a lot of once we get to the point that I can say what that means. I'm hoping that's issue 4, issue 3. I can let you know what that means, but at this point I can't. But it's ambiguous for a reason. All right, we had another question here too. The other review dude said, the guy on page 6 who said, maybe I never really thought about it. You know how the saying goes, never trust a great hair and a smile. That's true. He does have really good hair. And I did not, that was one of the characters I didn't have a character design for. I just kind of gave like a plain design of like who he is. You know, he's the, you know, kind of a rocker, kind of a geek friend, and they just like went totally awesome with it. I'm like, that's awesome. And you will see him in the actual comic duo. In the comic duo webcomic, you're gonna see him again. So if you like that character, you will see him again. Like, he's not a main character, but he's like could be that cool, way off secondary character. And if you guys like him enough, I'll add him more. But yeah, he has awesome hair. Totally agree. Thank you, Wayne, for making him have awesome hair. We actually have more questions, so. Tevia, question, is your series going to borrow some elements from like Flash, Wally West run, or better yet, Superman series? No, because again, Superman, you're going to see the elements of like, oh, this famous hero type thing. You're going to see like the iconic American hero will be the only thing that you'll see from Superman. Flash, no, because again, he has the super speed and parallel universes, which I'm not looking to borrow at all right now. So yeah, you're not going to see really anything from those series. But again, besides the obvious for Superman, and that's more just like superhero tropes in general. All right, cool. So those are all the questions. Those are all the last minute questions. So thank you guys for watching. I'm seeing that we're getting more viewers, but thank you again. If you have any more questions towards the end of the show, you know, you can still comment and I'll answer. And this is Comic, you know, please back up the Like Father Like Daughter Kickstarter. That'll be really appreciative. And follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and you'll find out when the next Kickstarter will be. And I'll probably promote it on the next comic book reviews like I did this week. So enjoy all that. Thank you again for celebrating this with me, and it's just the beginning. Was that ambiguous enough? It was. All right, see you guys.